Good afternoon and welcome to Locked On NBA Daily. On today's show, the Spurs have won 7 games in a row, including 2 over the Thunder. But are they really championship contenders? Plus, Cooper Flagg is breaking out in Dallas, and the Heat are sliding in Miami.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
On NBA Daily, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. However you're tuning in, on YouTube or on your podcast app, thanks for making us your first listen every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. I'm Wes Goldberg. Today, we are talking about whether or not the Spurs are legit championship contenders. We'll zoom out and take a quick look at some of the power rankings of the top contenders in the league. And then we've got Make It, Take It Wednesday coming up. But let's start today, and we're doing it with the help of Locked On's local experts. I have 2 of the best with me, as always, from the Locked On Nuggets podcast. He's a senior NBA writer for the Action Network. It's Matt Moore. Matt?
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. All the good teams lost last night because they were hungover, because they're looking ahead to Christmas, and that's how it goes because the NBA schedule is too long.
From the Locked On Bulls podcast, he's also a Bears and Bulls creator for Bleacher Report. It's Haize.
With Wes almost forgetting to intro us, I think Wes is the one who's a little hungover. You've been hitting that spike eggnog there.
Pro or anti-eggnog? I'm a pro eggnog guy.
Eggnog and bourbon all day.
Yes.
It's always a hit.
Got to put the bourbon in.
Eggnog and liquor and coffee.
There we go.
Yes.
That's the cure for what I'm ailing of this morning. That and the Miami Heat's current losing skid that we'll talk about in a second. But right now, we're going to talk about the Spurs, who beat the Thunder for a second time in 10 days last night. They looked like the better team flat out again, and they unveiled a new winning time celebration where the crowd claps along with Victor Wembanyama pounding a drum. This team might not talk a lot about high expectations, but they are starting to have those higher expectations for themselves. Here's more from Locked On Spurs.
All right, here's are my 5 reasons why I think the Spurs are NBA title contenders this season. And let's start off with number 1, Wembanyama. He is a force on both ends of the court. He has shown when he's out playing that he can make an impact, alter a game from an impending loss to a probable win in an instant. His presence alone on the defensive end makes opposing players rethink whether or not they should go in for a basket. His length, we all know what he can do. There's nothing I'm going to say right now that y'all don't know. But just Wemby alone pushes the Spurs into that NBA title contention this season. Number 2, they've already proven that they can beat the best in the NBA. They beat in Denver. They beat the Thunder in the...
That PowerPoint presentation, courtesy of Jeff Garcia over at Locked On Spurs. We're going to talk about the Thunder part of this in a second, so I do want to put a pin in that. But let's zoom out to start the show on the Spurs. Haize, when you think about the Spurs team, based on what you've seen, 2 wins over the Oklahoma City Thunder, the defending champions, do you view the Spurs as legitimate championship contenders?
I mean, no, not and no knock to them, but this is just kind of a rule of thumb for me. Young teams like this that exceed expectations, and that is what they're doing now. They're a little ahead of schedule. I don't like to label them contenders yet until I see what they really do in a playoff series. They haven't been tested in that series. They haven't had to go through the rigors of what a 7-game series really is. I think they're a really damn good team, and I think they could prove themselves to be contenders. Just for me personally, I need to see them in the playoffs before I'm willing to call them that.
Doubting the championship pedigree of Luke Cornett. How dare you, sir? They are definitely a contender. And I've come around to this. Like last night really was a proving point for me. And I almost underreact to regular season results. Like it's not just a contrarian in me, though that's a part of it. I just don't tend to be like, I'm always like, yeah, okay, this happened in December. How are we going to feel in April? But here's the thing. Look at the profile. They're on pace for 40 wins before 20 losses. They have an SRS above 3.0, and they're on pace for a top 3 seed. I would be with you, Haize, except for this like little caveat where I'm like, well, look, maybe they just match up well with OKC. The Thunder might stomp them on Christmas, but I think we could clearly say they match up well with OKC. And normally I'd be like, yeah, you could beat OKC, but what if you don't play them? What if you play the other teams and they stomp you? Here's my problem. Denver is, in my opinion, the second best team in the Western Conference. And Denver's big problem is that they can't contain fast guards. They cannot defend fast guards in space and pick and roll.
Mm-hmm.
Stefan Castle has been awesome. And when you have Castle and Fox, that dramatically changes that matchup. They have multiple guards along with Dylan Harper that can get downhill. So now I'm sitting here and I'm looking at them like, wait, if the Spurs have matchup advantages over OKC and Denver, even if their overall profile isn't as good, they are top 10 in both offense and defense. I can't find any reason to keep them out of the contender. They qualify here. The Spurs are contenders.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not here to knock you feeling that anybody feeling it. That's why I made sure I put all the caveats possible. This is just my own personal thing when it comes to young teams. If they were doing what they were doing, and this was a team that won 45 games or something last year, I'd be right where you are. I'm just tempering my expectations. Maybe that's me safeguarding my own stuff, but I don't doubt how good this team is. I just think that contender level, I just need to see a little more proof of concept before I'm willing to give that.
I think that's totally fair. I do think the point Matt brings up, though, about, hey, it's not just Victor Wembanyama. It's not just that guy. Dylan Harper is legitimately good. De'Aaron Fox, by the way, is having maybe the best season of his career when it's all said and done. 9 assists, 0 turnovers against a Thunder team whose whole thing is to turn you over last night. That he's been huge for them. They do have legitimate depth, and they have answers, Matt.
I do want to point out, I'm sorry, Matt. I do want to point out, there was somebody on this panel this season at the beginning of it that was very glowingly about the Spurs' depth, and Matt Moore told me I was crazy. So
yeah, I was wrong, man. I
was wrong about it too.
I was crazy. Like I was so wrong about their wings because I was just so impressed. I was so unimpressed with Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell. And I was just like, they didn't move any of these guys. They lost Chris Paul. Like, why do I expect these guys to be better? They've just been better. But honestly, guys, like, I really don't. We're burying, I think, with the lead here, which is Stefan Castle came into the year and it was like, oh, Dylan Harper, that's the future of the Spurs along with De'Aaron Fox. And everyone was just like, yeah, whatever. He was the best rookie in a bad class. Look at these numbers. He's averaging 19 points per game with 7 assists, shooting 51% from the field, 31% from 3, and 72% from the line. Like, Castle's been awesome. And that is a fundamental, I think, game changer where it's like, I was expecting some of the wings to grow. And like, honestly, Vassell's played great. But the big thing here is if it was just Fox and Wemby, you can defend that. But if it's Fox and Wemby and Castle, now you got a real problem in trying to contain all these weapons because of how many resources you have to devote to Wembanyama. It's a fascinating team construct that we're seeing with the Spurs team. And Mitch Johnson is coaching his face off, and he deserves a lot of credit.
Absolutely.
Not to mention Keldon Johnson scoring 20-plus points off the bench in the first half against the Thunder. Like Dylan Harper coming off the bench. They have these microwave guys that could swing pockets of games, and you could swing a part of the game. You could swing a series, right? When you're talking about a potential playoff series, if it's a close one there. All right. We're talking about the Spurs as title contenders. I thought we could do like a real quick and dirty power ranking thing of maybe the top teams in the league. Do we still all have the Thunder number 1?
Yeah.
Yes.
Despite the law. Okay. So Thunder number 1. Fair question. Who's number 2? Matt, you said Denver number 2 in the West. I assume you also mean number 2 for the league. Haize, where are you there?
I think I agree with that. I think Denver.
So
yeah,
then
Denver full streak. Although like the Cam Johnson injury, we're waiting on news on that. It's a big freaking deal, man. Like if they're going to be without, if Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown are not upgraded today to questionable for this game tomorrow versus the Wolves, they're going to be without 3 starters. Like it's getting dire. Yeah. Their depth has been decimated now. If Cam Johnson's out an extended period of time, Tim Hardaway Jr. has been good, but not as a starter. But I would still have Denver. This offense is just, this is the best offense I've ever seen. They are the best offense I have ever seen. So yeah, they're 2.
And assuming that all of those 3 starters will be back healthy in time for a playoff run is a big deal. Okay, so then who's number 3? Because I think the Spurs, I think we had Houston here for a while. The Lakers have made a case. The Knicks have made a case. The Spurs right now are the hot team winning 7 in a row. Are they good enough to be considered number 3 in the league right now?
I think it's the Knicks.
You got the Knicks over?
I don't know how to parse this with the difference in conferences. Like if we're just doing who are the best teams, right? But we're doing contenders. And if it's contending for a title, not having to go through the Western Conference is a pretty big leg up. And the Knicks honestly have been they've just been really solid. Like their overall profile is just like, they're a serious, competent team. And I think you have to put them over Houston in regards to that. Houston looks great when it looks great, but when it looks bad, they lost to the Kings and the Clippers.
Are we ready to put the Spurs over the Rockets?
Yes.
Yes.
Haize?
Yes. And I hate to admit that. I've been beating the Rockets drum all season long, but this I'm willing to put the Spurs over the Rockets.
Lakers, Pistons, are we considering them in at least even in this contender tier, on the outer fringe of contender tier? Do they even qualify for these power rankings?
I think they're right outside the contender tier, personally.
Detroit's like, the numbers are all there for Detroit. I don't know why I'm not buying in. I don't know why. I should be buying in on Detroit, being like, hey, this team could do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when we talk about the contention thing, Detroit can win the East. I think Detroit could absolutely win the East. But if they run up against OKC, Denver, or Houston, or San Antonio, that's five games max.
Well, let's start talking about the OKC part of this. Do the Thunder have a Spurs problem? Plus, is Cooper Flagg taking a leap in the middle of his rookie season? Make it, take it is next. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. The holiday season is one of the best times for sports, bowl games, big basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once. And while we're all making choices every day, one of the most fun places to make the right call is on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the easiest way to get on daily fantasy. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, lock in your lineup, and you're in the game. It's simple, it's fast, and it's available in 45 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. Prize Picks has added an extra layer of excitement to this holiday sports schedule. Creating a lineup takes less than a minute. The app makes the whole process smooth and intuitive. You could choose from a huge range of unique stats: fantasy score, field goal attempted, free throws made, turnovers, whatever fits your strategy. The early payout feature is a great bonus. When your lineup starts strong, you can get an option to cash out early. And the new stacks feature lets you choose the same player up to 3 times in one lineup, like more on a quarterback's passing yards, touchdowns, and rushing yards. Deposits and withdrawals are quick and easy, which keeps everything flowing. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily. The best way to support the show is to subscribe on YouTube. We usually air 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. But tomorrow, we are going to be streaming at 10 a.m. to preview a great slate of Christmas Day games. So make sure that you are subscribed and that you will tune into that. But right now, it's time for Make It, Take It. We usually do this on Thursdays, moving it to Wednesday this week because of the holiday. You know how it works. 2 takes, 1 winner. Haize, you won it last week, so you've got the ball first. Let's talk about the Spurs, who beat the Thunder last night for the second time in 10 days, losing this one by 20 points. Let's go to Locked On Thunder with more.
So do the Thunder have a Spurs problem? It depends on what your definition of problem is. So here's what I'll just tell you what I think about this matchup. Before the year and up until that Vegas game, and really through that Vegas game, I told you that the only team who could beat the Thunder in a 7-game series is Denver, because the NBA is not designed for upsets. Other teams can push the Thunder the distance. Other teams can make life really hard on the Thunder. The Spurs joined Denver as a team who could beat them in the playoffs.
Haize, ball is yours. Do the Thunder have a Spurs problem?
Yeah, I think it's you gotta believe the eye test and what you've seen. As it stands right now, they absolutely do have a Spurs problem. This is a problem they can figure out. Maybe. I mean, on paper, the Thunder have the ability to figure out just about any problem. We'll see the next time they take the court what they do. But right now, when the Spurs, they have confidence against the Thunder. They present matchup problems against the Thunder. The depth at which we saw was a thing back when they faced off against the Pacers in the finals. That's been a problem. And they're a very well-coached team. These are all things that presented problems for the Thunder as much as anything else. The Thunder absolutely have a Spurs problem right now. Yeah.
They have a Spurs problem, but it's not as bad as it looks. A couple of things to keep in mind here. In that first matchup in the bubble, or in the not bubble, in the tournament, the Thunder shot 24% from 3. Last night, the Thunder got to the line 7 times total, Shea for 5, and then a bench player for 2, and that was it. These are outlier kind of things when you look at how OKC usually plays. And OKC getting blown out last night really does lead me towards the idea of like, all right, maybe we're going a little bit too far. Like I just said last night convinced me. And it's true, just because there are these elements where a team does get in your head a little bit. Like the Wolves were just absolutely stomping Denver every single time. And it really got in Denver's head a little bit. We've seen this where teams just have problems with other squads, even if some of it is a little noisy. So I think that the Spurs have I think the Thunder have a Spurs problem. It's just not as bad as it looks because some of this is just like a couple of random things didn't go their way.
Points to Matt there, just because I agree. I think two losses in 10 days is a big deal. Now, if they get stomped again on Christmas, maybe Haize is going to ultimately be right on this. But Victor Wembanyama is a problem for the Thunder. He's a problem for everybody right now. But I do think that the Thunder can figure this out if a few other things go their way. I still think the Thunder would be favored in a playoff series over the Spurs. Let's talk about Cooper Flagg. Another huge night for him. 33 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists in the Mavericks win over the Nuggets. The ball was in Flagg's hands for most of the fourth quarter. Here's Locked On Mavs with more.
Cooper Flagg is him. He's next level. He's potential MVP of the future, all NBA first team, number one player on a championship team. Like, he is going to be that kind of guy. And it's games like this where you just see the amount of different things that he can do in an NBA game to affect winning in so many different ways. They were doubling him late in this game. The Mavs were using him essentially as the point guard late. Maybe Jason Kidd's experiment of having him play the point guard to start the season what meant something and amounted to something.
Matt, ball is yours. I had the same thought watching that game down the stretch. Like, oh, wait, Cooper Flagg, point guard? This kind of looks pretty good right now. You covered that game because they were playing the Nuggets and beat the Nuggets. Has Jason Kidd been vindicated for his decision to play Cooper Flagg at point guard earlier in the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jason Kidd's plan of having Cooper Flagg play defense or play point guard against the worst pick and roll defense you're ever going to see is a great plan. Denver's defense was absolutely horrific last night. Now, Cooper, I think Nick's right that Cooper's on track to be amongst those guys. Like, he will be one of the guys that we talk about as the best players in the league in like 5 to 8 years. I will say, like, a lot of what's happening right now is teams do not have the right scouting report out on Cooper Flagg. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen after the new year when we start to see scouting reports get better. When you look at his overall game, and I'm not even going to use the numbers here, just watch him. Here's the reality. The jumper is extremely questionable and not reliable. If you let him get to his one-handed floater, you are dead. Like, you are dead. I have no idea how that kid is already that good at that floater shot, but it's really impressive. And he is big and strong, but there are ways to kind of think about it like Giannis, like building the wall, only not having to do it with a guy that's Giannis's size. There are scouting reports you can put out on Flagg, I think, that will limit him. And right now, teams are still getting used to Cooper Flagg. I do not think that Jason Kidd is vindicated. There's no galaxy brain here. It's Jason Kidd. Can we be real about who we're talking about here with Jason Kidd? There's no galaxy brain going on. It happened to work last night versus a horrific defense.
Yeah, I mean, I get it that it worked, but I still think it's not just about if it just worked that night. It is about the skills that you're developing and the way that you're also having him have to read defense if he's going to be able to play the point guard, which I think is helping the offensive explosion that we're helping with Cooper Flagg. On top of that, on the season, he's still creating almost 10 points per game off assist, which is really good. And if you're able to do that once he does move back to his more natural position, that's going to be an even bigger weapon for him. So I think it is working in the sense that you've put him in a position where he has to read NBA defenses, and that's going to help the game slow down to him quicker. And if he's already doing this, we know as people who've covered the NBA, there's no way the game slowed down to him yet. But the fact that you're already putting him in this position, have to read defenses, that's going to be a big thing for him. And the defensive part of Cooper, the part that I thought was going to be the thing that translated early for him, hasn't been terrible, but it hasn't been what I expected either. Cooper Flagg is absolutely going to be a number one on the championship team at some point.
I mean, I will say this, like, they're 39th percentile when he's creating out of pick and roll. And when you're talking about, when you kind of talk about putting the ball in his hands, I don't think nobody suggested the ball shouldn't be in Cooper Flagg's hands. But playing point guard is way more about full-time responsibility for setting and organizing the offense. Sure. And he still doesn't know that. Bringing the ball up, giving to him, and letting him create in the half-court set, that's not running point guard. Every major ball handler does that. There's a big difference between those two things, and I still think it was a mistake for Kidd to throw him into that pool that early.
Points to Haize on this one. I agree with Haize. I don't really care how you do it. Throw him in the deep end, play him at point guard. They are throwing them the ball a lot, but it's really about the skill development at this point in Flagg's career. And Kidd did do this with Giannis earlier in Giannis's career, and Giannis still credits Jason Kidd for having done that, even though it didn't look pretty all the time. Our last one here, and this is going to break the tie. The Miami Heat lost to the Raptors last night. They have now lost 9 of their last 10 games. This after starting the season 14-7. So here's the question. Are the Heat more like the team to start the season when they were taking the league by storm with that up-tempo offense, or are they more like the one that we've seen over this last month that's won just 2 games in the month of December? Haize, you have the
The truth is somewhere in the middle, right? You're never who you are at your best. You're never who you are at your worst. And I think like this team is too well coached. Eric Spoelstra is their coach. They're going to figure it out. So I think they'll be more, if we're talking about closer to, they'll be closer to the team they were at the beginning of the season than where we are right now. There's no way that the Miami Heat stayed this bad for the rest of the season. We knew at the start that there was going to be some time and some overlap of getting Tyler Hero and Norman Powell kind of on the right page. Once you got those guys minutes, you learned a new offense. The defense is slipped sometimes. Every team goes through some issues over the course of the season. The Miami Heat are going through their storm right now, but Spoelstra's too good. This roster's too talented. They'll figure it out before the end of the season.
Tyler Hero has taken a lot of flack from some portions of Heat fans when the offense has been really bad because he's missed time. Like they need his offense quite honestly right now. The good news here is like, look, over the span of 15 games, they're still 11th in defense. It wasn't good the other night, but like they're still a good defensive team that will probably sharpen up as their offense kind of gets back to where it needs to be. The concern has to be that the Noah LaRoche system just isn't sustainable because last year it collapsed in the second half right around this time in Memphis. And now you're seeing the same thing kind of happen with Miami. Now I think Spo can kind of mitigate some of that and there'll be better dynamics and he will listen to it, the players, and run some picks. But the other thing is like, they also should be able to add some firepower at the deadline. Find another small weapon should do it. But the league's got to compensate them for the Terry Rozier deal in order to give them the ability to make that trade. It is unfair otherwise for the Heat to not be able to make an adjustment to be able to add one more weapon. Because if they do, I think this team can contend in the Eastern Conference.
Well played, Matt. Way to bring up the Terry Rozier thing. You knew exactly what you were doing there. It's nearly Christmas, which means it's time. By the way, that sound meant that Matt won. Make it take it. It's nearly Christmas, which means it's time to sort through who's been naughty and who's been nice. I'm going to explain that segment after this. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. During basketball season, there's nothing like being in the building. The energy, the crowd, that first big run that gets everybody on their feet. Fans want to be there for those moments, not stuck refreshing their screens or guessing what tickets are really going to cost. That's where Game Time comes in. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage back, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets fast, simple, and without the guesswork. Browsing the Game Time app is straightforward and it's intuitive. Finding tickets takes just a few taps. Seeing the view from your seat before buying makes choosing tickets easy and confident. Prices include fees up front, so the total is clear from the start. Features like zone deals help unlock great seats at even better value, and whether it's an NBA game or another live event, everything is right there in one place. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDON NBA, for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today and get in on the action. Welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily. Thanks for making us your first listen. The Locked On Podcast Network has a show for every team. Check out Locked On Heat, Locked On Mavericks, Locked On Spurs, and Locked On Thunder for more on today's top stories. It's almost Christmas, which means Santa is checking his list. It's time for NBA Naughty and Nice, where we go through some players, teams, storylines, and decide whether they have been naughty or if they've been nice. Matt, we'll start with you. Who's been naughty? Who's been nice?
Are we talking a whole year? This season? What are we talking?
That's how Santa works. He needs to see the proof.
Right. This year, I will go. The Oklahoma City Thunder have been nice because for as many complaints as there are about the grifting, the numbers don't back it up. Like they are not excessively high in free throw rate. They are not excessively low in opponent free throw rate. They are middle of the pack in both. And this team has set a championship standard that I think is very high and very difficult to reach. That, we're coming off this loss of the Spurs, but it's important to kind of keep in mind here, they're still beating teams by 11.7 points per game, per 100 possessions, schedule adjusted. They have been an absolute monster, and they're so disciplined in how they approach absolutely everything. Like the team of the year has to be OKC, who is still on pace for an outrageous number of wins.
Haize, naughty, nice. Where do you want to go first?
I'll go nice. Naughty first. First of all, 2 players, former teammates. First of all, John Morant. You guys seen the new celebration where he acts like he's gonna pull a gun out and then puts it back in? Like that. Just why are you doing this, John? Like, what is he shooting? Like 19% on 3-pointers this year. You don't need a celebration for 3-pointers. And then I love that Dillon Brooks is back embracing the villain. I love that Dillon. We need villains in the NBA. Dillon Brooks is back embracing the villain role. So he definitely gets that nice naughty label as well.
Dylan Brooks gets coal for Christmas and then eats it, just like starts chewing on it.
That's awesome. Ooh, Cole.
Yeah, exactly what I asked for. Perfect. Anybody on the nice list?
Yeah, nice list. Deni Avdija. I mean, he just continues to be great this season. I love watching him play basketball. He's a player that I think people kind of counted out, not only where he's drafted to, but just kind of forgot about him. And he's come to Portland and has really reinvigorated his career. Deni's really good.
I'll say naughty is everyone who thinks the Blazers are good. That team is not good. That team is not anywhere close to good. That team is like, their wins are all flukish. Their losses are all like, oh, that tracks. That team actually kind of sucks. And a lot of Avdija's stuff is just usage. Like, I'm just being real here. It's just having the ball a lot. I think a lot of the contemporaries have been a lot better this season. I am unimpressed with the Portland Trail Blazers. One more naughty, though, I do want to kind of throw on this one is the Kings for being just the Kings. It's just very sad to be the Kings. Like, it is naughty to treat your fans like that. Come on, man.
No team is needed to be on Santa's nice list more than the Sacramento Kings in 20 years and just continues to find itself on the naughty list.
Actually, I got one. I might be on the naughty list.
You
know why?
Is that a question? Why are we questioning this?
Because I'm a saint, thank you. Because
so is Lucifer.
Once upon a time.
Bringing in the Morning Star on Christmas. I can't believe it. So I believed in Donovan Mitchell. And this Cavs team had an ignominious exit from the postseason last year to that Pacers team. Really just got worked. And I know they had injuries, but now this year this is happening. And Donovan's been great and they've won his minutes. But like, I'm coming back around where I was like so resolute. I was like, no, he's good. Like, look at this and this and this. And I love watching him. But like, I'm coming back around to Haize's original position at the start of last season, which is like, you can't win with Donovan Mitchell. And like, you can win a lot of regular season games. And I don't really understand it. But for a guy this good, I can't get my brain around why is this team not better? And so I might be on the naughty list for believing in Donovan Mitchell.
The Cavaliers have won 2 games in a row. Maybe it's not too late.
It is a very good buy low spot, by the way, for them to win the Eastern Conference because nobody's caught on to that. They've won 2 in a row and look good again.
On the naughty list has to be mentioned Terry Rozier, Chauncey Billups, Jonte Porter Jr. Naughty, naughty, naughty. All 3 of them.
How about, wait, I got one more. How about nice and naughty? Joe Dumars, because he gave up that first round pick, but he drafted Derek Queen. He's on both lists.
Derek Queen is on the nice list. The Blizzard, as we're calling him here. Anybody else before we get out of here? No?
No.
On the nice list. Matt, I got you on the nice list. Haize, of course you're on the nice list. Thanks to everybody who's listening today. You are also on the nice list. Thank you for subscribing to Locked On NBA Daily, wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Thank you to Matt and Haize for their expertise every day. Thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network your first listen. We'll see you right back here tomorrow morning for our Christmas preview special on Locked On NBA Daily.
Happy holidays!